For nearly 30 years, jockey Jamie Spencer has been riding racehorses at the top level. Many herald him as a genius, though some find his quiet style frustrating. He has amassed a glittering collection of career wins for various connections in different countries and for a multitude of different trainers. Martin Dwyer is good friends with Jamie after sharing the weighing room with him for many years, and he has agreed to meet at his home in Newmarket. So who is the real Jamie Spencer? Mercurial talent or showman over sportsman?
Jamie Spencer looks around and toys with the opposition.
Back-to-back Qatar Goodwood Cups.
It's Phoenix of Spain and Jamie Spencer has made just about out.
Hello, Dave.
Well, how are you? You alright?
You burst onto the scene at 16, 17, when I suppose when we all sort of knew of Jamie Spencer was when you won the Guineas on Sariska.
Yeah, 17. I was 17. Obviously, I went from, in my school holidays, I obviously started riding out at Aidan O'Brain's, who's jumps trainer, our next door neighbour. And I used to do that I was at boarding school, so I only came home every second weekend, so I'd ride out there. And then in the summers, I went to Liam Brown on the Curragh, which was, it was like culture shock.
In what way?
Because you're basically just at home all the time, other than going to school. And then all of a sudden you're on the Curragh, and this, felt like Australia, the Curragh from Tipperary. So yeah, I was there for one summer when I was 14, and then I went there full time when I did my junior cert, which I think is like GCSEs here. I went full time after that and spent 3.5 years there. Yeah, very good man.
With Liam Brown?
Yeah. I think he's kind of, he formed me as a person. Like it was hard work. At the time you think he's torturing you, but when you look back, he was only trying to do his best for you and keep you on the straight and narrow and whatnot. So yeah, he was good. He was good. He had Mick Canaan, Stephen Crane, Pat Gilson, Tommy Carmody, Mark Dwyer. They were all champion apprentices with him. So I was kind of the last one, and Timmy Houlihan, obviously, Lord rest his soul, he came after me. But yeah, I did whatever 3.5, maybe 4 years there. He was a great man, and it was his birthday the other day, so he's still around.
How would you compare Liam Brown to, say, would he be like a David Ellsworth over here, that kind of a man?
Yeah. He was, I don't know what number of horses. We might have had 30 horses at the time, and you looked after 10, and everyone else looked after 3, and he'd pick a different one. So he finished work at, I don't know, 1 o'clock, for example, and he had to be back at 1:30, start 2 hours before everybody else, and to do even stables. And he'd pick a different horse every evening. He'd take the rug off, and he'd run his finger the other direction. If he found dust on it, after a while, I perfected the art of running from getting a boot up the backside, so you could move forwards.
So he was a tough man.
Yeah, he was a tough man, but very fair, and he'd back you up if something went wrong in a race. As I say, it was all for your own benefit. And obviously, Mrs. Brown was there. If you got on with Mrs. Brown, you did well. So often did the gardens for her. I learned early. Mark Dwyer was the other one who got away with murder. So I found out that if Mrs. Brown liked you, you had a better chance.
So that's where you learn to graft and
appreciate it. I remember everyone else was on like maybe £110, and I was on like 55 quid a week or something like that. And my digs was 50 quid, so I had 5 quid to last you the rest of the week. And he said, if your mum gives you any money, you're out of here. So basically, he made sure you had no opportunity to do anything else.
So you weren't allowed to
get money off your mother? He kept the rest of my wages till I was finishing my apprenticeship, and then gave it to me at the end. Yeah.
So you see, people now would say that's you can't do that, but it was probably for the best, wasn't it?
It was for the best, yeah. It was, yeah. So I didn't do the apprentice school course, but Shane Kelly's room was across from me, so I was forever getting a loan off him. everyone had has huge respect for Liam Brown, and yeah, I have to be thankful for him for all he did for me.
30 years on, and Jamie is now comfortably settled in his Newmarket home. With his faithful pal Jack for company, he spends some of his free time advising buyers in the bloodstock industry.
Come on, Jack! Come on, then.
You're like two peas in a pod, you two now, aren't you?
Yeah. He's good. He's a good boy. He's a good boy.
You enjoy having a companion.
Yeah, he's good, Doug. Yeah, doesn't answer back.
Does he sleep upstairs with you?
Too right, he does. It's his house. I'm just living in it.
Long before establishing a settled life in Newmarket, Jamie found himself in the right place at the right time to kick his career off with a bang.
And they're running in the early Coolmore Irish 1000 Guineas in the early stages.
17. How'd you get the ride on a Guineas winner?
Well, I was just fortunate. I literally hadn't. I had a really slow start to the season, and Pat Smullen got the job as second jockey at John Ox's, and basically he couldn't balance both. He was Tommy Stack. He was stable jockey Tommy Stack, and he couldn't do both. And I think he was riding a good bit for Dermot Weld at the time, because Mick Cannon was riding a good bit for Ballydoyle in England. So just Pat couldn't do everything. So I ended up going down and just riding some work and getting some of the spare rides. And I rode a winner for Tommy. And you just sheer luck, you know. Sometimes Robert Sangster owned the winner that won a maiden, and they were going to run it in the Guineas. And basically Robert Sangster wanted, I think it was John Reid or maybe Pat Hedry, one or the other. And so Tommy ended up letting me ride Tarascon, and yeah, I actually didn't know I was riding it till the declarations came out, and
did that help?
Like during the war, it was the facts then. Yeah,
but did that help not knowing you didn't have to worry about it for a week? Or
no, I wrote a work once, and I think week before, Tommy was going mental anyway. The work was messed up.
Well, Fran Berry told me to ask you about that. He said it was all your fault. He was in the bit of work.
Yeah, I think it was Fran Berry. I think Magoo, Paul Horrigan might have been in the work or something anyway to slow down the lead horse, because he was a bit fatter than us at the time. Yeah, well, you always knew the work had been, because Tommy clocked everything, so you knew the work had been messed up when you get back to the barn, and the first thing was a bucket would get kicked, and then he'd shout and scream, but it was over then with Tommy, whereas he'd never festered. But I remember something went wrong anyway. I think Berry definitely must have messed up anyway.
Now, for the facts, and these are the facts, Jamie Spencer's version is totally wrong. I got asked by Tommy Stack to come into his stables. Jamie was on a cold run that season. He'd only ridden one winner at Killarney in the May meeting. The first winner of the year was way ahead of him in the Apprentice title. And he was the stable jockey to Tommy Stack at the time. So I was asked to come in and ride, work with Tarascon. It was our final bit of work before the Irish Guineas, the most serious bit of work. And unfortunately for me, I didn't realise who I was with and how sleepy Jamie was, because when we were following the lead horse, I jumped off in terms with the lead horse, Vincent Rossiter. Jamie fast asleep, missed the start, totally blew up to work. I had to wait for him, help him along. But needless to say, the bit of work was a disaster. 2 17-year-old kids riding with a senior rider, and we got back to the barn, and Jamie threw me straight under the bus. Blamed me for jumping off slowly, letting the lead horse go, and it was all Fran's fault. And as these things go in life, natural justice was served. I got no ride in the Guineas, and he got to ride in Tarascon and won her.
Inside the final furlong, Tarascon and Kitsa fight it out as they race up towards the line. Kitsa and Tarascon is up. Tarascon's won it for Jamie Spencer.
I mean, what did that feel like to win a Guineas that early in your career?
You just don't know, you know. You can't comprehend how important it is. I can always remember that. You remember very little of the day because it's a blur, but I remember having a shower after my ride, and I just sat there, and Mick Cannon came over to me. He never said anything to anybody. You know, he minded his own business. He just said, you know, just take a breath and take it in, because he said these days don't happen every day and whatnot. And I always remember those words, and it's, you know, anytime you have a good day, I try and think back to that, and, you know, appreciate it, because there's so many days then when it's not, you know, when it doesn't go your way.
So at that time of your career, which jockeys did you look up to?
Loved Cassius Mason. Yeah, because when he used to come from France, Shane Kelly, Motley and I would be going as Cash and he rides at the weekend. So you could be in the 7th race of the car. If Cash was there, I'll be there an hour before the first waiting, because he also used to bring the whips, the American whips, the big long ones with the tassels on the end, and he'd give them to the apprentices. And then you look back now, it was just a nice gesture. He'd always bring 4 or 5 whips. So the apprentices would be bolting to the race of the car, because, you know, you getting these whips and you'd be twirling and hear the beach knees the next day, and Liam Brown wouldn't let you ride out with a whip. So it was like an ornament for me. But yeah, I used to love Cash for that reason, and brilliant jockey. But as regards riding in Ireland, we obviously have Mick Cannon, Johnny Murtagh, Kevin Manning, Pat Smullen was like 3 years ahead of me. So kind of were similar times. So yeah, obviously Mick was and so Christy Roach was he was the kingpin. Like you'd be ringing him up asking him for a lift race, and he'd always give you a lift, and his stories are brilliant, and he'd give good advice and really kind.
Let's have a look at a few of these trophies. So obviously coming here this morning, I had to bring some of mine, so it didn't look too bare. But this annoys me, you know, that I should have had that.
Yeah.
I hit the front.
McAvoy's got one.
Has McAvoy got one?
Yeah, rule of law.
I hit the front in the ledger, 2003. Gave mine a peach, and then you come and nailed me.
Yeah.
What are the other ones here? What's that? Champion flat jockey. See, that's a good one to have. Not many people have got. Being champion.
It was Jamie's rides on Tarascon that first got him noticed on the road to becoming champion jockey.
Young 17-year-old Jamie Spencer on Tarascon. Can he get a run? Frankie Dettori on bar is trying to close him behind.
I mean, I remember you burst onto scene, you winning the Guineas. I remember you coming over to ride her in the Oaks. I remember you walking the course with Lester Piggott, and that's when I really met you for the first time, and I was like, who's this kid? I mean, you look like the paper boy. But you, at the time, the press were comparing you to Lester Piggott already at such a young age. Was that a big pressure for you at the time?
No, because I wouldn't really buy into any of that sort of stuff. Just kind of, because that's the beauty of working with Liam Brown. You went in and you mucked out your 8 or 10 and brushed your horses. You know, if I was riding in the 2:30 at the Curragh, you know, I'd have to be back in the yard by 3:15 to do my evening stables. There was no, it wasn't like today where you know, I suppose some people might say, oh yeah, you can't behave like that to people, or, you know, work them into the ground, but I think it did me no harm. So basically I was, you know, you got put back in your box very quickly anyway.
So you were champion apprentice the year after you won the Guineas. Yeah. And then you made a decision to move to England. What drove that decision?
It was actually Barney Curley who wanted me to come to England. He said he brought horses. He used to, when he bring horses for Galway, they used to be stabled at Tommy Stack's, so he'd be staying there. And I got to know him through that. And then I did a winter here on the all-weather, and then that was, I think, winter maybe '98. And then the following winter, he said, look, you know, you need to move to England. There's a lot more opportunities there. So I did. I came the night of the millennium, and yeah, it's a long time ago, but it doesn't feel that long.
There's the great man himself, Mr. Barney Curley.
He's a good man.
What was the best bit of advice this man ever gave you?
I don't know, but he used to have a red couch, and if you got the call up to sit in that, he was like a stare off. He'd stare at you. If you blinked, you give up the game. It was hard to. Yeah, he was a good man.
Well, that meant you were in trouble.
You were in trouble. Yeah.
If you had to go and see him,
he called me Lord Lucan when I first came over, because I'd be going missing for 2 or 3 days, not answering my phone or whatever.
So he'd keep you in check.
Yeah, keep me in check. Yeah, but yeah, he's a good man, Barney.
What did your relationship with Barney mean to you?
Yeah, sure. Like when you're young, you know, you kind of. When I moved to England, he's probably, a good sort of sounding base for all the things that were popping up at the time. You know, he obviously introduced me to Luca Kamani, so hence, and that's how I got riding work for him. You know, he's a respected man, but you know, didn't suffer fools. He was just great to everyone. He was great to me. He was great to Motley, Shane Kelly, and Tom Queally, Frankie. Frankie's probably as close to him as anybody, and generally you'd be going to see him when, you know, if he had a big decision to make.
So he was there for, because unfortunately you did lose your father at a young age, didn't you? Was Barney a kind of a role model for you, a father figure that you needed? Yeah,
well, before my father died, he did say to me, if you want to be a jockey, you have to go to Liam Brown. So, you know, I followed his advice, and obviously you have to have people in your life that you can trust, number one, and then two, be good sounding biz. So I had Liam Brown, then obviously Liam Brown and Tommy Stack were looking out for me, and then obviously Barney. So I've always had someone that you can, you know, ask the question to. So yeah, he was a big help, Barney.
Were you riding for Luca Kamani at that point, early 2000s?
I was riding work for Mr. Kamani, and then on I think the 6th of June or the 1st of June, Frankie, the plane crash. And then at Royal Ascot that year, Kieran had his fall. And basically they were riding all of the horses when they were available. Obviously Frankie was with Godolphin and Kieran was with Sir Michael. Then from all of a sudden, both of them were out of action. So I went from riding the ones at Thirsk and Ripon and whatnot to riding them all. So as I say, you know, sometimes you need to get a bit of luck or the ball to bounce your way. And I ended up, you know, having a good bit of luck that year. And I ended up basically stable jockey to Mr. Kamani then from I think, the next 2-3 years.
They were successful years for both trainer and jockey, and it was a chance for Jamie to make some lasting friendships.
So David, how long have you known Jamie?
We first met at Luca Kamani's 25 years ago. I was working there as an assistant. He came as jockey, and he rode the likes of Gossamer, Endless Hall, and he had a very successful time with Luca. And you know, working with Luca and Jamie, I very much got to know how he sort of thought, how he rode horses, how he rode work, and obviously when I started training, I was very keen to use him. We've been, you know, good friends for a number of years, and I'll use him whenever I can. Obviously, you know, there is a little bit of a Marmite situation, if you like. Not every owner wants to use him, but no, I'm keen to put him up if the owner's happy.
Tell us his best attributes as a jockey.
For me, the most important thing with Jamie is the horse comes first, and there's always another day if things don't go right. You know, he understands horses. He's got a love of horses, which I think so few have, and yeah, he like me is always looking for longevity in a horse.
Jamie's certainly got a riding style of his own, and I think some people, certainly punters, can be a little bit frustrated by that. But how do you see his style?
He's a remarkably good jockey from the front, and when he's allowed to dictate and go on, he's an extremely good judge of pace. But he's basically trying to conserve energy all the time. So with our horses especially, if they're free or if they're fresh, he will put them to sleep or try to put them to sleep. If they're lazy, if they're a pace horse, he'll ride them accordingly. And yeah, there is that misconception that everything has to be held up with him, and it is a misconception, but you know, he for me is as good a jockey as there is out there.
David Simcock may refer to it as a misconception, but there is no doubt that when we talk about a textbook Spencer ride, we know the horse is going to be held up until the last possible moment.
Jamie Spencer is waiting in the wings on Escobar. Rise Hall is driven. Escobar is creeping ever closer. Rise Hall is all out. Escobar is given the office to go. A classic Jamie Spencer ride.
Let's talk about your riding style. A lot of people, when you say Jamie Spencer, they'll think of holding horses up, creeping into the race and getting there and winning cosily. I think you described your riding style as conservative.
Yeah, I'm pretty kind to horses. And I like horses in general, you know. So yeah, I'd like to give them confidence and time to relax, or wherever that may be. So yeah, I have a quiet style. Often horses, I can get probably most out of the horses without having to go for them. So yeah, it's just, you know, everyone's got different styles. Franberry's was a very quiet style as well. So other riders are busier. Yeah, everyone's got their own style, I suppose.
Do you think that just gets more out of horses when you ride that way?
I suppose, yeah. I don't know.
Don't be getting shy on me.
You know, some people have an aggressive, like for example, Sylvester de Souza's got an aggressive style, and you know, he likes to squeeze. He gets more out. He gets more out of maybe a lazy horse. But you know, everyone's different. I like having a patient style. It's always been my sort of go-to way to ride. So,
which ride gives you the most pleasure if you watch back now, when you really know you've done a good job?
I don't know.
Come on.
I don't know. Go to rides. I don't know. Like last year at Ascot, Carden was probably a good ride.
Yeah.
You know, reserved energy, had one go to win late on.
Well, he actually, without being rude, he didn't have the form to win that. I think it was a massive price, wasn't he?
Yeah. So, you know, you're nursing, holding on for as long as you can, and then just have one go, and hopefully there's enough there in the locker when it counts. Yeah, luckily it did work out.
That must have given you a lot of pleasure, because I think you'd had a bit of a barren spell in terms of Group 1 winners, hadn't you? You've gone a couple of years.
Yeah.
Before 2000,
that. Yeah. Well, I broke my leg in 2020, so I didn't really ride that year. I think I had like 10 winners that year. I missed most of the year. Then 21, 22 were quiet. So yeah, no, it was good.
Talk us through that injury. What, you broke your femur?
Hip and femur. In 2020. Yeah, it was in COVID time, so COVID was so weird. You know, it's just like 2-3 years missing. You know, yeah, so I was off for I think 4 months or something like that. But basically missed because the season was obviously no racing until June, so I was off for I think August or September, something like that.
What was it like in the hospitals during that time? Was it tough?
Yeah, I was only in for 3 days. When I got operated on, I basically had to prove that I was mobile before they'd let me out, but I wanted to get out of there as quick as I could. There was some lunatic across me that had a motorbike accident, and he used to save up his morphine all day, and then he'd ring Yamaha in Japan in the middle of the night screaming my accelerator stuck and I hit a wall.
Really?
Yeah.
So what do you mean he saved his morphine? Just take it all in one go?
Yeah. So then he was, I was in traction the first night, and you know, obviously your leg's broke and the femur is like the biggest bone in your body, the hardest bone, so you know, move it all, and it was agony. So it was in the middle of the night, I was going, oh, and he says, you go, once more, I'll come over there and bash you. So I was going, oh. And I pulled my curtain rail around, and I said, geez, I cannot wait to get out of here. So
could he have made
when
it
you're having a bad
bit?
day, I often think back of, you know,
of what you went through.
It was a long and boring recovery. Actually, it was in this room. I had a bed set up here. So basically, it was long. You know, just I don't know, because we're in the middle of COVID. You had no visitors. It was really weird. But anyway, touch wood. Hopefully, that's all behind me.
Racing's full of ups and downs. Dr. Franberry told me to ask you about a horse that early on in your career you got jogged off, and he said you cried for days. A horse called Ray.
Oh, it was a lovely horse. Today, Stephen Crane jocked me off. Didn't even tell me.
What do you mean, didn't tell you?
I was a kid. I used to ride him all the time. Won the Lincoln on him, and that was the day of the race. I got jocked off and was down to ride it.
On the day? Oh, right, I didn't know.
Yeah.
And did it win?
Aye. And tell Dr. Berry, people in greenhouses shouldn't throw stones. It was good to firm before the start of the Galway hurdle, and when he got collared on the run in, it was heavy ground for the next race. He had that much pulling up.
Was he actually crying?
Yeah.
Was he?
Sobbing, yeah.
Yeah, Galway, I have no problem admitting it. When I rode Tijani in the Galway hurl, I got beaten by Black Queen. I did go too soon, and I was hugely upset. It was probably the biggest defeat of my career. Trained by my dad. and the horse lined up to his peak for the Galway Hurl, so it was hard to take, but at least I got over it. Jamie never got over Stephen Crane jockeying him off Ray in the Galway Mile, the McDonough handicap. He wouldn't have won it anyway, and it's something that's probably marked Jamie's career for the rest of it. He just doesn't take rejection too well.
Hawkwing now making progress under Jamie Spencer. Hawkwing's going well. They're inside the final quarter mile. It's Red back on the far side, challenged now by Rock of Gibraltar. Then Twilight Blues behind these races. Jonathan and zipping. Meanwhile on the stand side, Hawkwing is kicking clear of that group. Rock of Gibraltar gets the lead on the far side from Red back. Hawkwing kicking away on the near side. It's Rock of Gibraltar far side. Hawkwing, an explosive late run, but Rock of Gibraltar won it.
Jamie has been known to express his emotions, and he famously didn't hold back when Hawkwing failed to pick up Rock of Gibraltar in the 2000 Guineas.
The plan was only to produce him in the last furlong, and I was in front at the bushes of my group, so I reacted to what was happening around me. Kieran was making the running in our group, and Kieran hated making the running, so you knew we were going slow, and they were always clear of us. So yeah, it was just frustrating, but I felt it was out of my hands what happened, and obviously I kicked at the bushes, but it wasn't soon enough.
I think everything stopped in front of you, didn't it? And then you were getting away the far side. Rock of Gibraltar just got first run on you, and you were racing alone actually, weren't you? Yeah,
Redback I think made the running far side. He finished third, so it was clear that they didn't go too fast.
So he was unlucky not to have won that year, but it was.
I had a long weekend that weekend. He was favourite and Gossamer was favourite for the 1000. Went into a bounce and then came
Where
out.
Where did Gossamer finish?
She finished 7th. It was really firm ground. She wants soft ground. Sadler's Wells.
So how did that feel at the end of that weekend?
It is what it is, You can't change it. So yeah, just moved on to the next week, I guess.
I actually read somewhere after you pulled up on Hawkwing, you were caught on camera swearing.
Yeah.
Can you remember what you said?
Yeah, began with F and ended in a K.
So literally just frustration came out?
Yeah, like, it could easily, the result could easily have gone the other way. It's a good horse to beat him though.
Was it that year you won the champion bumper at Cheltenham?
Yeah.
Tell us about that.
Well, obviously I used to go home in the winters, and then I'd go to ride out in Aidan O'Grady's, so I was lucky to go there. And so I think he rang me, and he had like 3 runners, and he'd bought this horse off Eddie Hales. I think he had won a bumper in Naas.
Pizarro?
Yeah, it looked very slow. And he said, "Oh, would you like to ride in the bumper?" And I said, "Yeah." I think we won a bumper for Eddie Hales, and then I won a bumper for Mr. O'Grady. And then he said, "Well, would you like to ride him?" And I said, "Yeah." And obviously the race, I can't really remember much of the race, but I remember kicking down the hill to try and put stamina into the race.
You must remember the end when you flattened Norman Middleton.
Got rid of Norman after the junction.
That wasn't
Charlie was trying to poke my inner just before the turn in, and he didn't get up there anyway. And then off the turn, he was rolling around a bit. Then there was a steward's inquiry for ages. There was Captain Hibbert Foy. You remember? Lord rest his soul.
He was a tough man.
Yeah, he was a tough man. But I remember once. He gave me 3 days at Ascot, about a year and a half previously. He gave me 3 days, and whatever I said to him on the way out, he brought me back in and gave me another 3. So I remember I learned from then, look, you just got to say nothing, let him be judge and jury. So I didn't really say much in the inquiry, obviously held on to the race.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, here is the result of the steward's inquiry into our 7th race. The placings remain unaltered.
You got a suspension?
No, I didn't get a suspension.
No. It was all accidental?
Yeah.
Accidentally on purpose?
Yeah, professional foul.
You knew what you were doing?
Well, the horse was rolling around. I kept Norman tight to the fence. And
what did Norman say?
Well, he talked a lot in the stewards room. That's all I remember.
Because there's a picture upstairs, isn't there, like a cartoon?
Yeah.
Owned by John Magnier.
Yeah, so Edward Wallace, the owner of Pizarro, got Peter Curling to do like a caricature of it all, and it's upstairs.
It would seem there were not too many hard feelings from the Magnier camp, because in 2004, Jamie got the call-up from Ballydoyle.
How do you look back on that? Because you were there, you were stable jockey for a year, weren't you? How do you look back on that time now?
Actually, it's a long time ago, so I suppose I wasn't blessed with great horses that year, but one cool cat we were hoping there would be the main horse, and he bombed out in the Guineas, and maybe he didn't stay, but he did all right when he went back sprinting, but no real standout horse. The 2-year-olds actually were better, but yeah, it's one of those things. You just put it down to experience. Maybe I was too young. Christy Roach always felt I was too young. Even before I did get the job, he was adamant to stay in England a few years longer, get more experience. But we can all be generals after the war, as Liam Canary once said to David Ellsworth.
Yeah, well, that is true. I mean, so what age were you? 20?
23.
23.
Yeah.
But you couldn't turn a job down like that, could you?
No. Well, it's life. Everyone's moved on. Everyone's
You were unlucky, because I don't think, if you look back through the Ballydoyle seasons, that year they didn't have any real top draw horses, did they? I think you were riding like Antonius Pius, and he wasn't straightforward, was he?
No, he was a talented horse, but he just wasn't straightforward. But yes, I don't know where 20 years goes. It doesn't feel that long ago.
Powers Core, you rode him as well.
Yeah.
Was it the Breeders' Cup? You were riding them, and they both got beat, who were fancied, and that was a tough weekend for you, wasn't it?
Yeah, both got beat. I think Better Talk Now won that race. And Antonius Pius was coming to win, and when he was going to win the French Guineas, he ducked right. And I remember Michael Canaan saying to me, he said, have your whip in your right. On him, I don't know how I ended up chatting him. He said, be ready for him. And when it came to challenge in the Breeders' Cup Mile, he ducked left. So he was a smart horse.
What was it like to work for Aidan on a day-to-day basis and ride for him? I mean, we always see him on his phone, and he always gives good interviews, but it's hard to really know what he's really like.
Yes, as I said before, you can't comprehend the pressure he'd probably be under. Like he's all those people that work for him, number one, they're relying on him to make the right decisions. So he seems to be good at taking all that pressure, and I think he looks more relaxed man now. It's much like everyone. As you get older, you start to chill out, I guess. But as I say, you wouldn't want all the pressure he has every day, looking at all those horses, and things go wrong, and horses get injured. So I think he deals with it well.
Would he be one that would tie you down to instructions, and that was it? You literally had to, because you mentioned earlier, when you won on Phoenix of Spain, you just decided to make the running because of the way he went to post. Could you have done that riding for Aidan or not?
Yeah, you can do. Like when I won on Fame and Glory at Ascot, he ended up making the running after a furlong because we were going too slow, and just nipped up Jimmy's in her and let him rip basically for the other mile and 6 of the race. So yeah, no, you never get really tied down to instruction. You just use your initiative.
So I've always found you ride better if you ride on instincts.
Yeah. Sometimes you got to change things up in a race if it's not happening.
You've got to have the ability to just do what you think's right and not worry about it.
Yeah.
And do you think all of your big winners you've kind of done that? I mean, Gossamer, she could be a little bit keen as well.
Yeah, she was keen. She was tiny, like she was barely 15'2", I think she was like.
Was she not very big? Don't remember.
Very tidy, short action, loves soft ground, but yeah, she was. But she'd be always generous, be in your hands all the time.
So when did you make the decision you were going to leave Ballydoyle? Was it?
It was February or March. It was around that I came back to England, rented a house, and just started riding. You think back now, it's. I suppose I always said it was kind of sink or swim time. Get back riding, get riding winners, and see how you feel about it.
Well, you didn't just get back riding, did you? You were champion jockey that year, 180 winners or something, 2005.
Yeah, I got stuck in. I had Chris McGraw as my agent. He was very good. I don't think he knew what he was taking on, and he was very helpful, and he worked very hard for me. And I got a lot of support from a lot of people, so you can't do it without the support. So yeah, it was nice to be champion jockey. I suppose it's like something that can never be taken away.
Well, you did it again the following year. Were you joint champion with Seb Sanders?
2007, yeah, I think 200 odd winners.
You've always had the ability to bounce back, haven't you?
Yeah. Yeah, you just have to work. You know, nothing's a given in this game. You got whatever you get out of it. You've got to put in plenty to get plenty out.
Yeah, well, you say that, but you've got to have talent. You've got to be good at what you do, and you've got to be mentally strong. I think you've done well when you look back at the knocks you've taken, to be mentally strong and just to keep out there, going out and doing it time and time again.
Yeah, you have to be resilient.
What do you think it is that makes you that way?
I suppose my father died when I was very young, so I had to grow up quickly. So I've always, at the end of the day, I was probably 14 when I went, you get into the real world. So it's a very young age. Hence why with my own children, I try to let them live their childhood for as long as they can. Because, it's a long life when you start full-time work at 14 and, you're got a lot of responsibility. Even riding out racehorses, you have to concentrate at all times. So yeah, I've had a lot of responsibility from a young age. So I think it makes you grow up faster, and then you become, wiser and tougher, and standoffish with people. So then when tough times come, you've got that in the locker.
If you could go back now and give some advice to the 21-year-old Jamie Spencer, what do you think you'd say?
You can't really change much in your life. You just have to enjoy the people you've met over the years. Like you see, like I was very very good friends with Pat Smolin. You probably should enjoy your friendships as much as you can do. I think it was a shock when he died. And for like Ted Durkin, him, we were all kind of the same time starting off, and then I spent obviously a winter in Hong Kong with Pat. So yeah, enjoy the people. So, you never know what's around the corner.
The people have certainly been important through Jamie's long career, but there is one horse whose name will always be synonymous with Spencer.
Sariska is the leader in the Oaks with 2 furlongs to go. Midday trying to get up on her inside. Out wider than his high heel, followed then by Rainbow Viewers under pressure, and then kicked away. Midday on the inside, trying to draw level now with Sariska. They come up with a furlong to go. It's Sariska on the near side, and neck up, fighting back is Midday. They're clear of high heel. They race towards the line now. Sariska on the near side. Midday fighting back. Sariska and Midday in a furlong.
Roman Empress and Sariska is just the back marker of that leading group that turned for home. Roses for the lady, out 2.5 in front, Midday second. Oh goodness me, Sariska is coming there very, very strongly on the heels of the leaders as they race with 1.5 furlongs to go. Roses for the lady, pressed by Midday. Sariska is coming there, tanking for Jamie Spencer. Grace O'Malley is fourth, they're heading for the final furlong. Roses for the lady, Midday, and Sariska coming there effortless now to complete an Oaks double. Jamie Spencer looks around and toys with the opposition as Sariska bolts in to win the second Oaks for Jamie Spencer and Michael Bell.
I want to talk to you about Sariska. I think if I think of a Jamie Spencer ride, I think I look back to when you cantered, breezed through, and there was a little bit of showboating. What were you saying? It's Fran Berry, wasn't it? It was Dr. Berry.
Yeah, Dr. Berry, yeah.
What were you saying to him when you went by him?
I can't remember, waved at him or something like that. But yeah, Sariska was just very good horse in soft ground. She just loved soft ground. When she won the English Oaks, she'd been working really well. But Michael Bell, he only worked her once properly between the English Oaks and the Irish Oaks. It was about maybe 2 weeks before, or maybe 10 days, I can't remember. But she had a decent lead horse, and he said, "I'll make her have a good stretch." And literally she must have been 30 lengths ahead of the lead horse when it pulled up, and it's not my style to be really hard on a horse, and it wasn't hard on her, but she just improved that much. And obviously it came out in the race. I'd like really strong belief that she wouldn't come off the bridle, especially when it rained. It had rained, I should say. And yeah, she won easy. It was a really good day.
You must have enjoyed those victories, especially in Ireland when you were laughing at Berry on the way past.
Yeah, of course, but yeah, it was a bit of fun. But it's nice, you know, you've been with a horse from the start. So knew she was, before she ever ran, I remember galloping her on the racecourse side, and like around September or October time, just before she ran, and thinking, oh, this has got a good chance of being good, because she was big and she was like a colt, and she was able to, you know, mature at that stage. So you go through their career. It's nice being with a horse from before they run and watching them progress all the time. So she was good. Obviously at the end of her career, she dirtied her copybook a bit. She didn't start her last 2 races. She'd worked it out, but
yeah, she refused to race the last 2 races.
Last 2 races, yeah.
So she had that. I mean, if Michael Bell, when he galloped her once a week, did she always have a bit of a streak in her?
No, well, her sister did something similar. Her sister, or maybe it was her dam, Galway, one of them didn't jump out one day. So, yeah, it's a family trait.
I remember when you won the English Oaks on her, you did one of your usual tricks. Like, you were the last to challenge, but when you come up on the outside, you just rolled in a little bit to tighten up. That's a trait you've used quite often, which is kind of a professional foul. You've done it to me enough times. It's kind of like, if you're the last to challenge, you like to close your door on the way through. I think it was midday, got a little bit tightened up. There was a long stewards inquiry after that race, wasn't there?
Yeah, I suppose the difference in Irish and English racing is that they ride very competitively in Ireland. Like, you know, Johnny Murtagh was a tough rider. When I was a kid, he was a tough rider. He'd have you tight all the time. You never got an inch. Kevin Manning, the same. Small would be glued to you in a race, and you kind of learn. I think that's the way ride a lot. English racing is a lot different to it. Maybe it's not as tight nowadays as it was then. You know, from riding against Johnny or Kevin, they would ride boot to boot, keep you really tight. So I suppose that's, you learn from a young age, kind of be that kind of competitive.
You just don't like to leave anything on the table, do you? Just make sure if you get the job done.
Well, yeah, I guess so.
Michael, Jamie Spencer, he's ridden for you for many years, ridden some big winners for you. Tell me about him.
Well, he's a very, very gifted horseman, I think, first and foremost. He's everyone goes on about jockeys having good hands, but I think his hands are probably up there right with the best of them. You know, he can settle a horse very easily, and you know, sometimes it's a bit of a roller coaster ride watching him ride for you, because you know he does love to hold horses up, but he knows where the winning post is, and we had some great times.
I was interested in his relationship with Sariska particularly. I mean, he did have a good bond with that filly, and he produced some magical moments, didn't he?
Yeah, I mean, she probably really didn't get the credit she deserved, because beating Midday, you know, ended up, you know, winning a raft of Group 1s herself. That was a very, very good Oaks, I think. And then obviously in the Irish Oaks, waving goodbye to Fran Berry, you know, that was a sort of iconic moment, gets shown lots. And he rode some fantastic races for us. Probably his best ever ride for us was Red Evie in the Lockenge, when beat the Colts and got up on the line, and he got on really well with her.
And Big Orange, of course, he won a good cup, didn't he, on Big Orange?
Yeah, that was a good ride, and no, he's, you know, champion jockey in Ireland, champion jockey in England. You know, what more can you do, really? If, you know, or say in Britain, you know. So I mean, he's ticked all the boxes. A very good judge in the mornings as well. You know, where, you know, if he said one was good, invariably it was. So yeah, I mean, he's a very, very a lovely fella too. You know, good sense of humour, and no, I mean, we go back a long way, and we've had some good times. A lot of the times when horses finish second or third and he's held up and they finish second or third, that ends up, people say he's come too late, but it ends up being their best ever career run.
However, it wasn't always plain sailing with Sariska.
They're off, and Sariska has planted herself and has refused to leave the stalls.
But could things have been worse had Jamie and Sariska not been paired together?
I think your bond with her, your relationship, the way you used to ride, you probably got more out of her. If she'd have had a couple of tough races early in her career, she might have started to refuse earlier. Would that be a fair comment?
Yeah, I guess so. I probably had as many whip bands as anybody, as everyone else, but I wouldn't regard myself as a stick jockey. It's the last resort, really, the whip. I think I've probably had an even run with colts and fillies over the years.
But you think your style might just, trainers might think, well, I'll use Jamie Spencer on a filly that might be a little bit nervous or might need more of the carrot and less of the stick. Maybe your style helps in that way.
Well, I've yet to see anybody win a fight with a horse.
That's true.
Yeah, so I've always been of the nature to give it a pat down the neck rather than start yanking her or whacking her.
More try. Do you think some jockeys just go out and just ride instead of trying to understand the horse and sort of form a bond with it, or does that sound a bit corny?
Well, first and foremost, if the horse is not relaxed or is pulling, it's giving itself less chance of winning. So you try and get to know the horse and the way to post. It's kind of, I'm guessing what everybody does. Maybe I'm wrong.
In terms of relaxing horses, I could liken you to Walter Swinburne in that respect, able to drop your hands on the neck and get the horses to relax, because it's a big part of race riding, isn't it?
Yeah. The more relaxed they are, the more energy they have at the end. Hopefully.
It's simple when you say it like that, but trying to get one to switch off is not the easiest.
Yeah, no, sometimes it's not. Sometimes you get run off with it, I think.
You have been lucky in your career that you have been able to maintain relationships with people, even, let's say, with Aidan O'Brien, because there was a lot of speculation you'd fallen out during that period when you left as stable jockey, but you've continued to ride for him over the years. And then when you took the retainer with Jim and Freety Hay, you linked back up with Aidan successfully, didn't you?
Yeah, they bought half of Cape Blanco and Fame and Glory, so they had a good summer that year. Obviously Fame and Glory won the Gold Cup and Cape Blanco won 3 Group 1s in America, so yeah, it was good. It always, obviously won the Belmont Derby on Deauville as well. Jim and Fitchery worked for them for a good few years, and obviously still ride a good bit for them. Lovely people.
How are you able to just to keep these links without falling out with people? How are you able to do that, do you think?
I suppose even when it's going against you, you just never shut the door. You just kind of just bear and grin. And sometimes, you'd be copping flack for something maybe warranted or maybe not warranted. But the worst thing you can do is, cut your nose off to spite your face, because then once you shut the door, and there's times you have to bite your tongue when people have said something about you or whatever. I've always had an ability in my own mind to keep my own counsel, when inside I could be erupting, thinking, why did you do that to me or whatever, and I just never say anything and keep my own counsel, and it served me well. As I said to you earlier, if you can't do someone a good turn, why do them a bad turn? So, racing is a very cutthroat sport, and if you let it eat you up, well, you've seen people that they let it eat them up, and it's not a nice sight, really, is it? So I don't hold grudges like that. I just kind of get on with it.
You've been riding quite a bit in America the last couple of years, haven't you? You're almost like a mercenary for hire. You've been linked up with Charlie Appleby and Godolphin.
Yeah. The trips to America. Obviously, I can do the weights that James Doyle couldn't do, and opportunities came. So, yeah, it was good. Obviously, went to Kentucky Downs with Charlie Hills last year, and his horse won Ancient Rome. So it's nice to travel. It's like when you're riding. It's sometimes nice to see new places.
This desire to travel has seen Jamie spend many British winters riding in other jurisdictions.
Red Run, Bold Act, Bold Act, Bold Act getting through, Bold Act coming after Chalice, Bold Act, Jamie Spencer.
And he's become the go-to jockey for many when sending a horse abroad.
Jamie's experiences, it's a worldwide experience, as we know, and he's come in to play with us on numerous occasions in America and Canada, and thankfully he's had Grade 1 winners for us out there, and over the recent times, over last year he rode Bold Act there at Group 2 level and Eternal Hope, so he's always been our sort of go-to jockey on the foreign trips.
What do you think his best attributes are as a jockey?
Well, firstly, just experience, and if you know how cool he is, I mean, he's horizontally laid back. And I know he's obviously sometimes gets dubbed with that sort of hold-up jockey sort of stature, but there's I can assure you, if you ask him to go and make it on one, his fractions are second to none.
In terms of when you run these horses in these big races globally, do you give Jamie instructions, or do you just let him go out with a clean sheet?
I think generally it's just depending on what sort of horse it is, Martin. You know some of those horses yourself. If it's a one-paced horse, you'd rather just advise him, just say, look, we're going to lack a gear. You're going to need to be, dependent on what the pace is towards the 4, or again, if there's a horse that we know has got to turn a foot or just wants that dropping in, well, there's no better man. But as a rule, you'll just let him know what the horse can do, and then after that, I always say to all the jocks, once those gates open, we don't know what pace is going to be on, so they've got to, needless to say, go to using their own experience, and that's why Jamie's been so invaluable down through the years.
Hot Streak strikes the front here for Jamie Spencer. The Colt is going to win it, a double for Kevin Ryan. Hot Streak wins the Roses Stakes.
Jamie has had many successful collaborations over the years, but his friendship with Sheikh Farhad stands out above the rest.
You link up with Sheikh Farhad, very successful. And he's still a friend of yours now, isn't he? You went to Super Bowl with him.
Yeah, I've been to the last 3 Super Bowls.
Didn't somebody throw you the ball and you dropped it?
Yeah.
Your big moment and you blew it.
Well, he did harpoon it at me. If I caught it, I might have landed on top of the stand. I went to the last 3 Super Bowls. I like the American football. Sheikh Farhad's he's a keen follower as well. Good pals with him. Speak to him probably by text. If not every day, maybe every second day. And I've rode a lot of good winners from him over the years.
And your decision, that was a weird one, wasn't it? You decided to retire in the middle of the summer one year.
It's a shock, and it's a very brave decision, Graham, to truncate your career for what is perceived to be the greater good at the age of 34.
Even if you've been riding in the big time for half your life. But with this decision, and it's a shock decision to most of us, the weighing room loses a lot of colour and one of its real mavericks. Let's not forget, he's 34. He's young enough to come back at some point if he wants to. But at the moment, and he's a very strong-minded character, multi-layered character, his mind seems made up.
Yeah, he offered me to obviously work for him, but I just didn't sit well with me, and I said I'd carry on riding for a bit longer, and I have done. I suppose everyone has to retire at some stage, but I thought I'd carry on for a bit longer.
Yeah, it was too early for you. So you announced your retirement in the middle of the summer, and then you did the U10 in the winter. So you just literally thought about it and...
Yeah, well, I rode Toast New York in the Breeders' Cup Classic, and I thought, well, he's gone to go to... was it the start of the Saudi thing or Dubai World Cup, one of those? And I thought, well, carry on and ride him. I wasn't knowing he was going to get sold in the winter, but I said carry on, ride him the following season. It made sense to me, and I'm glad it did.
You glad you?
Yeah. Yeah, it's been.
Well, we all thought it was too early. We were wondering why you decided to do it in the first place. Why?
Yeah, I probably just wasn't enjoying it at the time. But since then, I've been freelance since then, and kind of doing it at my own speed. Obviously there's days when you have to go racing when you look at it and you go, haven't got much chance or whatnot. But that's the same in every walk of life. It's not every day is a winning day. So as long as it evens itself out in the end, that's all that matters.
So after that, you then went freelance, and it was onwards and upwards again. We always talk about Jamie Spencer hold up from the back, taking his time. I thought Phoenix of Spain was a brilliant ride in the Irish 2000 Guineas. You were drawn low, you bounced out, and you made all the running. I thought you stole that race from the front, because I actually had forgotten Too Darn Hot was second. He was a much better horse than the one you were riding.
Yeah, I think he had a setback or something during the winter, because he didn't make the English Guineas. Or I rode him work at the Craven and he wasn't ready. And he worked well at the Craven. And then he went to Ireland and I got on him going to start. He nearly ran off me going down. I went down last and he was almost gone, and I got him pulled up where we called Declan Gillespie's, is around the 5 or 6 pole, and I trotted him the rest of the way down. And I was drawing 1. And the plan wasn't to make the run, it was meant to drop in a little bit. And I thought, well, maybe he'll settle in front rather than, because I knew if I dropped him in, he was going to be real keen. So I just bounced him out and threw the reins at him. I was fortunate that Andrea was sat second, so he didn't pester me, and he was on Emiratiana, who wouldn't get a mile in a horse box, so he sat second, and that was it. And the cars, it's a rolling track, and if you get anyway an easy lead and you can kick at the junction, off you went, and he got those few lengths and it counted in the end. But he won well on the day. He was the best horse, but overall he probably wasn't as good as Too Darn Hot. And the ratings probably say the same.
Yeah, it was a perfect example of riding a waiting race from the front.
Yeah.
Frankie made all his ground up
to get to me,
and then he couldn't go again because you were accelerating, weren't you?
Yeah.
For me, I thought that was a brilliant front running ride. It was perfect. It must have given you. Does it give you more pleasure riding winners back in Ireland?
It's always nice to go home. Yeah. Been lucky. The car has been lucky for me.
Another horse Michael Bell trained, Big Orange. You won the Goodwood Cup on him. That was at the start of his career, wasn't it, when he really started getting going?
Yeah, two Goodwood Cups. Yeah, he was a real strong stayer. He could really let him rip, and he'd keep going. Must have massive lungs. Very genuine horse. He was fun to ride. I actually liked riding him because he was a front runner predominantly. But he used to settle better in front. If you had a horse in front of me, he'd always be just doing that little bit too much with you. So he won the Prince of Wales as well. And then I didn't ride him the second year he won the Prince of Wales. I rode the Grey Gatsby, so I got egg in my face. But he went back and won the Goodwood Cup. Yeah, he was a fun horse to ride. Very genuine.
He was a type of horse, wasn't he? If you could just get him to drop the bridle, whether it be in front or wherever, he was a real strong stay. I mean, that's pretty much how you won the Goodwood Cup, wasn't it?
Yeah. When he was in front, he'd be backing off, he'd be looking at things, whereas if he's a horse in front of him, he'd be always just in your hands the whole time. So you'd back off in front, and then you could kick early when they do that, because he's racing behind the bridle, and you get them to relax. He was a nice horse.
And another top stayer was Fame and Glory. He won the Gold Cup on for Jim and Fitty Hay. He was a different type of horse, wasn't he?
Yeah, he started favourite for Sea the Stars Derby, so he had a lot of back class. Won the Irish Derby, won Tattersall's Gold Cup, so so then obviously the following year as a 5-year-old he was going right up in trips, so you're trying to get him to relax. I remember Aidan saying that just for the first mile in the Gold Cup, he said if you can just get down on the fence and just get the reins slack on him, because he was a little bit keen going over a distance. So if you can just get him to relax. And I remember in the Gold Cup something Hughes he got run off with down the hill on Geordie land. He flew past, and I thought, if that doesn't light him up, nothing will. So he was grand, and the rest of the race went easily. A very good stayer, strong stayer.
Fame and Glory's superb 2011 season was signed off with a win on Champions Day, showing what Jamie can do when he gets a top-class horse to ride.
But Fame and Glory took the race by the scruff of the neck. Had the line of punch from Jamie Spencer.
Jamie's dual Jockeys Championship wins, once jointly with Seb Sanders, put him amongst the top riders of his generation.
Look how young you are there. I'm Frankie.
Frankie got the memo.
So what, smile the camera?
Yeah.
You look like you were sulking. You and Ryan on either end sulking. You didn't want to be there. Pat, Lester, God bless his soul.
Joe.
Smoking Joe, Willie Carson. It's 3 boys at the bottom. God,
Nice.
what a jockey he was, Steve Corton. The assassin. I mean, that looks like he's in the police lineup, doesn't it?
Yeah, good jockey.
The assassin and the baby-faced assassin. A few years ago, that kid. What's the weighing room like nowadays? Because I've been out of change rooms for 2 years now. Is it still the same as it always was? Is it as much fun? There's a lot of new faces, isn't there?
Yeah, and like if you have, like, I didn't ride in England from the 28th of September till the end of February this year. So it was in Australia and America and whatnot for the back end of last year. Then I took the winter off. Like when you go back in, there's another 3 or 4 faces you haven't seen before. You can't even remember. You don't even know their names. So it's good. Yeah, the talent is very good. I think someone like Billy Loughnane, I really admire his riding. I'm looking forward to following his career for the next, if I stay alive, 20 years or whatever. I think he's an exceptional talent, but he's got manners and the brain to go with it, and I think that counts for a lot. It's all fine having talent, but you need to be able to utilize it and behave also. So I think for me, he's the young gun that's most likely to succeed.
Do you think these younger jockeys are able to relax a bit more with all social media and everyone's filming everything on the phones now? When we were that age, we were able to let our hair down a bit more, weren't we?
Yeah, and social media, it's just like it's toxic, really, isn't it? It's somebody hiding behind the keyboard. They're like so those young kids. I nearly say they shouldn't be allowed to have it, or it's a thing. It's there now. So it's some of the stuff that's said is just toxic. But I say to my own children, if you're not able to say it to the person's face, then don't type it.
Yeah.
And I think that's really how it should be played. But it's not like that. It's a big bad world out there.
Because you get quite a lot of stick, don't you?
Yeah, it's just like, I haven't had people say, "Oh, I want you to die," or "I want you to get killed in a race." I've seen some people get that. It's not even normal.
Do you think? I know Richard Hughes used to get a lot when he was riding, and you and him have similar styles. From the other side of it, obviously, I've been working in the media now for a couple of years. I see it now from a different angle, different perspective in terms of the punters, people, race fans, punters. Can you see why sometimes they would be a little frustrated if they've had a tenner on your horse and then they're watching you? Can you see why they'd be a little bit frustrated, when you don't quite get there?
As I say, if you don't like it, nobody put a gun to their head to back me.
That's true. It's very true.
Don't like it, don't do it. Yeah, so look, we're all trying our best. Not every day it works out. There's days you win races that you shouldn't have won, and vice versa.
Because there's times I've watched you, I've been in company and I've watched like yourself, Richard Hughes, when you're riding, and you think, oh, this will win. I'm like, well, they probably haven't got as much underneath them to trying to hold on to a horse to get it. It's like driving a car into a petrol station on empty. And sometimes it looks like there's more there than there is, so it can be a bit false, can't it?
Yeah, some horses don't find as much. Need Hughesy to come back to take the flak off me.
I've never met Liam Brown, but I remember staying with you a few years ago now. Do you remember? I'm sure you know the night I'm on about, when you had a house full and I was sharing a bed with Richard Hughes. And in the middle of the night, he woke me up because he needed the bathroom. So I'm led there waiting for Hughesy to come back. And he didn't.
Mr. Brown came down in the morning and he'd nearly have to put a suit and tie on when he was staying with you. And he said to me, Richard Hughes got into bed with me last night. I just thought, oh my God. Hughesy didn't remember a thing of it. I think it was you and Hughesy and Chips, I think, was it? Chips and Mr. Brown.
You had a full house, but I just remember lying there thinking, he's going to wake me up when he comes back, because he had to climb over me to get to the other side of the bed. And he never came back. And then after about 6 minutes, just heard all this screaming. And somebody shouting, get out. And he ran back in, jumped in the bed and hid under the duvet.
He probably looked about 12 when I first met him, and I think we went to trip abroad to Italy or somewhere, And I'll never forget looking at his passport photograph. He looked about 9 in it. Very funny, but he gets an awful lot of horses to run much better than they should.
Yeah.
He rode a little bit like me. If they got to travel, and wherever they travel, that's where they should sit. He believes in that, I believed in that. But then again, you're there to be shot at sometimes when you fly home. But a lot of those horses, if you rode them handy, they'd be nowhere. If you punt on Jamie Spencer, you know, some people don't like backing him. I wouldn't have a problem with it. I think he's a brilliant jockey, great judge of pace, and then he can switch it around a bit sometimes and make the runner.
Another weighing room contemporary was 6-time champion jockey Kieran Fallon.
Do you think we can tell the story about Kieran Fallon in Japan, or do you think he'll beat us up?
Well, put it this way, it must be 20 years ago, and I've never put my credit card behind it when I stay at a hotel around the world if he's anywhere in the vicinity since, because I know he wouldn't have got me. He wouldn't have got us back.
It was good. It was good. So we were, just to explain, we were all staying in a hotel in Japan. Japan Cup, wasn't it?
It's Japan Cup. We went out on this like boat around the, I don't know, whatever it was. Anyway, the bill came on the boat. And the assassin said he wasn't paying, and he ended up copping the bill anyway.
Me and you, wasn't it? We copped the bill.
So we got back to the hotel. There was a bar in the hotel called Brilliant. So I went to the bar. No, I went up to the reception. You started calling me Kieran.
Yeah.
So I said, "Oh, look, I've left my key or whatnot." So they gave me his key, and obviously had his room number. So I went down to this bar, Brilliant, it was called, and ordered whatever champagne and gave it to everybody that was there, and we had it off. So then the next day we were on the bus going to the Japan Cup, or whatever, 2 days later, whatever it was, and the assassin was looking at his room bill, and you can imagine, as you can imagine, in yen, it looked like about 5 billion he'd spent. And he was going, so he said to Martin on the bus, he was sitting beside Martin, "No, what's this all about?" And the bar was called Brilliant, and the driver goes, "From what I can tell," he said, "you had a brilliant time and they've charged you this." He knew he'd been had, but...
Yeah, he wasn't going to. It was a few quid. I'm sure we ought to Don Perignon and give everyone champagne in the bar.
Yeah, he was good fun. For definitely the best jockey riding in England anyway.
Yeah, he was top draw. He just had an advantage, didn't he?
Yeah,
he was just...
I mean, he was winning all those guineas. It just made it look like it was like shell and peas for him. You know, he had a sense of timing that was unreal. But he loved riding, didn't he? He just loved racing.
Still does.
Brilliant jockey.
Right. Right, let's go, kid.
Yeah.
One ride today.
Yeah, easy, down the road.
One ride, one winner.
Something like that.
Right then, mate. Off to Newmarket. You know where you're going, yeah?
Yeah, handy.
Do you know what? I read something about you today, whether you said it or not, I don't know, but it was a quote credited to you that you said sometimes you ride a horse that could win 5 lengths, but you actually get more enjoyment by just winning half a length or something. Did you actually say that?
Well, to a certain extent, yeah. It depends, you know, on the horses. Some of those old handicappers, like for example, Blessem would not be capable of ever winning a race by 5 lengths. So you have to time your run and try and win a length. And he generally, if you try and win a length, he'll only win maybe a neck or a half length at best. Because he always pull up in front. So.
But you enjoy that?
Yeah, well, yeah, because you've got a time to run. If you get to the front 1.5 furlongs out, he will stop, and whoever you passed will come back and beat you. I remember riding a horse at Yarmouth once, and the owner came, and I'd ridden it the time before, and maybe second or third, and the owner came. It was from Michael Bell, and he said, "Oh, make sure and kick on 2 out." And Ryan Moore made the running, and I kicked on past him, went like a length and a half clear, and Ryan came back and beat me. And you know, you just say to yourself, why did I listen to him? And then when I came back in, he said, "Oh, if I have gun, I shoot you."
He said that?
Yeah, they honoured it, yeah.
But you rode to his instructions?
Yeah, I rode to his instructions, yeah, but the horse got beat.
That's the thing though, isn't it? You're better off to... What was it Richard Hannon used to say? Good jockey doesn't need instructions, a bad one couldn't carry them out.
Yeah, something like that.
There's been some characters in this place over the years, hasn't there?
Yeah. That's where all the bloodstock agents hang out. Strip club.
Yeah, but you're half a bloodstock agent now.
No, I might not.
Not your
I'm a
cup.
jockey. Not my cup of tea. Leave that to them.
You go in there with the pens hanging on the ropes.
Pen around their neck, catalogue, shuffle, bloodstock agent starter pack. Bet you won't name whose car that is. The grey one.
The grey one? Whose is it?
Just got a guess.
It's a little old bang guess. Not Shane Kelly's, is it?
No.
Go on, who's it? Not Doyler's.
Yeah.
Doyler's got a little ladder on the back. Right.
Not very pleasant day, is it?
It's wrong, isn't it? Tell you what, nobody flies as much as they used to. Do you remember we always used to fly off?
Mark Johnson's plane was there when I was down on the July course earlier.
Did you have your own plane for a while?
2 years.
When you were champion jockey?
Yeah.
You needed it, didn't you?
Yeah, well,
right.
How
are you? Yeah, remember the day we used to fly off. Remember Richard Hannon's plane?
Yeah. I was quite old.
Did you ever win at cards on that plane?
No, I never really got a lift on that. I got a lift to France on it once or twice, but that was because we always were on the Newmarket planes.
Trouble is, if you're unlucky though, you do your dough playing cards on the way home.
Husey.
Yeah.
Kerry Packer.
Through Pontoon. Right, mate. Best of luck.
Thanks.
Back to the day job for Jamie. It's a particularly cold afternoon on Newmarket's Rolly Mile racecourse on day one of the Craven meeting. Jamie has one ride on the card, aboard Stormcatcher, the local trainer Simon Pearce, in what looks a competitive mile handicap.
Where's Jamie going to go? He's going to drop in. That's a surprise.
Dutch decoy with Infused as they climb up towards the line. Her feet are lane and majestic. Dutch decoy from the back theory of everything is charging home as well as they head towards the line. Her feet are lane, joined on the line by Dutch decoy.
That was always going to be a tough race for him. But no dramas. Looks like Safi Osborne's had another winner. She's having a great season. I don't think he'll be too disappointed. I'm not sure he was expecting the horse to win. He needed to find quite a bit on the form figures.
No luck for Jamie today, but he will be back for more, with competition in the weighing room remaining as strong as ever.
I am pretty close with Jamie. We have been close for a good number of years now. Our friendship didn't start off the greatest, I don't think. No, he used to get on my case a bit when I was younger. And I remember following Jamie around Wolverhampton. He was on one of Barney Curley's that was quite well fancied, and I remember following him. I mean, before this race, he used to get on my case for clipping heels quite a bit. So I remember following him around Wolverhampton. He was the one to beat. Anyway, we turned in at Wolverhampton. He clipped heels, and I went straight over the top of him. So I remember going up to check if he was all right, because we had pretty bad falls, and Jamie had blood coming out of his hand, and he looked in a bit of a mess. Anyway, he started giving me a for clipping heels, making out it was my fault. So, but anyway, since then, no, we've been good pals, and yeah, he's a very good friend of mine. He's been a great help to me, a good soundboard to have. I mean, look, he's got great knowledge and experience of this sport. He's been through everything, isn't he? So he's a great friend to have to run ideas past, and he gives great advice, and yeah, as you know, he's a good laugh as well.
He's got a technique of closing the door and tightening people up. He's not a dirty rider, but he knows what he's doing, doesn't he?
He sails close to the wind, Jamie. He's obviously a fantastic jockey, and his record in big races, and you know, his style of riding is pretty unique, isn't it? He likes to drop a horse on the line, but he likes to squeeze you up on the way past. But yeah, he's a wonderful jockey. He gets horses to perform that other jockeys can't get out of horses. You know, he's got that real relaxed style where the horses don't realise they're in the race until a furlong out, and there's no better jockey on the straight mile at Ascot. You know, he's ridden some incredible races there. Yeah, marvellous jockey.
After over a quarter of a century at the top of the game, Jamie is still knocking in high-profile winners. And he has also started to diversify.
What does the future hold for Jamie Spencer? We've watched you. I know you've been busy with the breeze ups because you do have a lot of interest in bloodstock on the side. You advise people.
A lot of the time it goes wrong. You know, breeding horses is difficult. You know, bad mare can break you. So yeah, you just hope you stay on the right side of it when it comes to the end of the year. You know, obviously I have a good handle on stairs and up here. And our stairs are obviously more. They stay up are better from a mile and a quarter upwards in Australia. So source horses for there. A little bit Hong Kong and do my own stuff.
What about training?
Not a chance.
You didn't mess about answering that.
No, not a chance.
You don't fancy it?
Nah.
Why?
Well, I've done this for so long. You know, it's hard. It's like you're married to the job of being a trainer. Every day you're just, you know, it's a tough life. You know, the people say jockey's life is a tough life. Trainer's life is probably twice as hard. You know, you're given bad news all the time. Just wouldn't be for me. I can take bad news better than anyone. I've a yearling that I got kicked the other day. So I got the email report this morning and mightn't even make the sale. So, you know, you can take, but that's my own bad news, but I'd hate giving other people bad news all the time. Just wouldn't suit me. And I think some trainers, it catches up on them not being able to do that. So, you know, there's a lot of responsibility being a trainer.
Who's the best trainer you've ridden for?
Hard to say, they're all different. You know, some trainers are good with fillies, some are good with colts, some are good with everything. It's a lot of great trainers. I think the hardest part is getting the horses. And once they get them, you know, that's probably the hardest part. I've ridden for a lot of good trainers over the years, yeah.
You spoke earlier about Neville Callahan passed away. He was a good man, wasn't he?
Yeah, very nice man.
Did
Neville.
he deserve the nickname Nasty Neville?
No, he'd a heart of gold, Neville. He'd a heart of gold. He just didn't suffer fools, you know. I remember once Frankie and I were with him, and there was only the three of us, and Frankie was trying to, you know, G up Neville, and he just said, "Hey Neville, you remember the time I got boxed in the 3-horse race?" And Neville was eating his food, and he just didn't even look up. He just goes, "Are you sure there was that many?"
Brilliant.
That was Neville, yeah.
Best jockey you ever rode against?
Well, you see, that's difficult because on a day when Frankie's winning 3 or 4 races, he's unbeatable. But, for example, over being consistent when getting beaten on the first 4 favourites, Ryan Moore can come out and win the last 2 races. Whereas when Frankie gets beat on a few early in the day, his lip is down and he just, you know, he's not as level as Ryan like that. He, you know, whereas Ryan seems to go through the day, whether it's good or bad, the first 4 races, he can carry on. He parks it away and goes on to the next race. So they look to be the 2 best, I guess. Mick Canaan was the best, obviously, when he was riding. I really admired him, and I admired Fallon. They were all different jockeys, but good era of riders. You know, Bert is brilliant. Husey was good. You know, it'd be unfair for me to say anyone was better than others, but I think they were all brilliant on their day. And it was
in their own era.
Yeah, in their own era. Yeah.
You didn't mention me there, did you?
No.
One rider who would make many a list of top jockeys is Jamie himself. Calm, courageous, and with that touch of swagger that makes all the great sportsmen stand out from the rest.
What a career you've had so far. You're not finishing off yet, but you've won a lot of big races, you've done a lot, you've seen a lot, but we don't see the emotional side of Jamie Spencer, maybe just on the racecourse.
Yeah, you can express yourself on horse. You know how hard racing is most of the time. It's it's more downs than ups. So you got to enjoy when it goes well, and it's as time goes on, your chance of getting on a Derby horse are less and less. But you just got to accept where you are and what you're doing. I don't know how long I'll ride for, but I take every day as it comes. I don't set targets or this, that and the other, because then you set yourself up for disappointment. I've had my period of time when you're riding 200 winners a year or whatever, and flat out all the time. I'm doing it because I enjoy it. I'm not doing it because I have to do it, or I'm doing it because I enjoy it right now. And whether it's tomorrow or 3 years or whatever, when I stop, I'll keep going till I stop enjoying it. And you never know when that day comes.